A movie about the most haunted roadway in America? I mean, why wouldn't you want to watch this flick? Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. And yeah, I'm going to tell you why you probably don't want to watch this flick. No, that's not true. I mean, even with any movie, whether it's good or bad, it's just my opinion. And really, everything I talk about on this show, you should watch the movie anyways, because obviously they put the effort in to make the best movie they can. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and you know what I mean? It's hard sometimes for me to sit here and talk badly or poorly about movies. And whatever, I got to do it, you know what I mean? Like, it's all part of being a reviewer, I guess, you know what I mean? Not every movie's going to be a classic, and not every movie is going to hit the mark. And unfortunately for me anyways, this movie did not hit the mark. It's called The Curse of Buckout Road. It is directed by, I think this is his second movie, Matthew Curry Holmes. And I mean, I'll get to who it stars in, but the main name in this movie for me anyways was Danny Glover. I love Danny Glover. I mean, I think he's a great actor, and he's just awesome, really. So, and I'll tell you, he is in the first act of this movie, and then he gets killed. And I'll tell you, after the first act, when he dies, this movie it loses its way. It's all over the place, the second and third act. I'm not going to talk too much about the second and third act, but the first act is killer. I mean, we're introduced to this road. We find out about the legends about it. I mean, there's a lady in white that is supposed to appear there. There's a legend of a white deer that brings good luck and wealth and stuff to people that see it. And then there's some like albino twins that haunt this road, just to name a few curses. But basically what it is there's three students at a school, and their teacher, who is Stephanie Hancock, it opens with that scene, and they're discussing like life and death and you know, good and evil and stuff like that, and you know, stuff like that. Anyways, later that night, when they fast forwards to the Professor Stephanie Hancock's bedroom, okay, and her husband's laying in bed by himself, right? And he wakes up and he looks over at the closet door, and in classic horror movie fashion, the closet door opens a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So he looks at it, and he's like, honey, come back to bed, come back to bed. And she comes screaming out of this closet, jumps on the bed, and I mean, like, she's like millimeters from his face, with her mouth wide open, screaming in his face. And the look on his face is like, what the fuck is going on here? And honestly, I loved it. I thought that at that point, I was invested in this flick. I thought, wow, this is fucking, what is going on here? Like, obviously she's possessed or something. And then later that night, she's sleeping, okay, and sleepwalking is a big thing, a big part in this movie. But later that night, she gets up, sleepwalks, she has her white bed sheet that she's taken from the bed, and then she goes and hangs herself on this road. And that's kind of where the movie picks up, and it's all in the trailer. I haven't given any spoilers. But yeah, and then these three students, one of them is Chloe, and she's actually a patient of Danny Glover's, who plays Lawrence Powell, who is a retired priest turned psychologist, and he's trying to help Chloe get through some of these nightmares that she's been having that all lead back to this road. And there's two boys in this movie that are twins, and they also get kind of cursed by this road as well, because they wake up under this tree and they have no idea how they got there. They say they went to bed in their house, they went sleepwalking, and they woke up under this tree. So you've got those three, and then we also get introduced to Aaron Powell, who is the grandson of Lawrence Powell, Danny Glover, who comes back from naval school. So basically, we're introduced to the characters, we're introduced to all these legends that take place on this road, and we're introduced to the opening scene where the teacher hangs herself from there. And then the first act ends, Danny Glover, I guess I don't know if he sleepwalks or he sleep drives, but he kind of picks up the curse as well, and he smashes himself into a tree. We don't actually see it happen, we see the aftermath. But I just got to say, after the first act, okay, which is awesome, is awesome in this movie. After the first act, when Danny Glover dies, this movie, if it was almost like an old couple on a trip somewhere, and their GPS screws up on them. They have no idea where they're going. It's like they almost like, you know what I mean? Like this movie just gets lost. It's everywhere. It jumps all over the place. It's hard to follow. And I mean, as invested as I was in the first act, I just lost total interest in the second act. And the third act is even worse. Like it's all over the place. Like the pacing is terrible. I mean, I like the fact that they used practical effects. I'll give them that much. And there's some scenes where they're talking about this dream, this reoccurring dream that they have, the twins have, and it takes place in the 70s. And I really like it. Really does feel like a 70s shot movie. The overlay they put on it is 70s, and it's cool how they did it. And again, this gets back to what I said at the beginning, where, you know what I mean? Like, even if I don't like a movie, if it didn't do anything for me, by all means, please watch it, rent this movie, and you know, watch it for yourself and see if you like it. Because just because I didn't care for it doesn't mean that you won't. But I don't know, man. Like, watch this flick and let me know, because the second and third act, I couldn't even follow it really. Like, I mean, it just jumped from everywhere. And I don't want to give spoilers. I mean, it's kind of in the trailer, but I mean, they jump into the spirit world, and then they jump out, and there's like flashbacks, and then they're back in the spirit world again, and you know, and then at the end they're gonna fight the guys in this nightmare, and I'm like what in the fuck is going on here? Like, it's like it just went off the rails. You know what I mean? So I guess I'll tell you what. I'll use this as to sum it up. You know the Matrix trilogy? Okay, this is how I break this movie down, and then I'm going to end this review because I don't want to give spoilers, because I really do want you to watch this movie. But I would say this is like the Matrix trilogy. Remember when the Matrix came out and how fucking amazing the Matrix was, the first one? Well, that is the first act of this movie. Okay, it'll suck you in, you're invested, and you're going to love it. And then came out the next two movies. I forget what they were called, Revelations and whatever the hell the third one was called. And those movies were god-awful, just fucking messes of movies. It's almost like they didn't know what to do, but they just had to put those two movies out to finish the trilogy off, when really they should have just finished with the first one and that be it. Do you know what I mean? And that's how I felt when I watched this movie. I mean, the first act was killer. It was fucking awesome. And then as soon as Danny Glover dies, it's like nobody knew what to fucking do. It's like, well, what do we do now? I have no idea. And it's like, I don't know, man. It was just all over the place. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to say about it. The Curse of Buckout Road, I had really high hopes for this flick. And yeah, after that first act, it was all downhill for me. So, I mean, the acting's okay. You know what I mean? And again, I like the fact that they used a lot of practical effects in this movie, which I thought were really cool. But as far as story and pacing goes, forget it. I don't know, man. I was lost in this flick. So anyways, I'm gonna stop there because I don't want to say too much. You know what I mean? I don't want to give spoilers. So, but just watch it for yourself, please. Just rent this movie, watch it for yourself. It's out now. And yeah, let me know. If you have seen it, let me know what you think. And if you haven't, go watch it and then leave some comments down below, because I am really curious to see what you guys thought of this flick. So anyways, the movie is called The Curse of Buckout Road. Let me know what you think, guys. And as always, stay scared.